Put some water on my head. Get a towel.
Good evening, and welcome to Insomnia Theater. I'm Paul Gannis. The Flying Deuces, also known as Flying Aces, is a 1939 comedy starring Laurel and Hardy, in which the duo joined the French Foreign Legion. The movie is at least a partial remake of Laurel and Hardy's for-real comedy Beau Hunks from 1931. Charles Middleton plays a hostile camp commandant in both movies. Gene Parker and Reginald Gardner also co-star in the film. Oliver is heartbroken when he finds that Georgette, the innkeeper's daughter he's fallen in love with, is already married to dashing Foreign Legion officer Francois. To forget her, he joins the Legion, taking Stanley with him. Their bumbling eventually gets them charged with desertion and sentenced to a firing squad. They manage to escape in a stolen airplane, but crash after a wild ride. Laurel and Hardy were a British-American comedy duo act during the early classical Hollywood era of American cinema, consisting of Englishman Stan Laurel and American Oliver Hardy. Starting their career as a duo in the silent film era, they later successfully transitioned to talkies between the 1920s and the mid-1950s. They were internationally famous for their slapstick comedy, with Laurel playing the clumsy, childlike friend to Hardy's pompous bully. This was the first comedy that Laurel and Hardy starred in without producer Hal Roach, although they had previously been guest stars in 4 MGM movies. Stan had a hand in the writing and editing, as he also had in the other Roach films. After Laurel and Hardy finished making The Flying Deuces, they returned to Hal Roach Studios to make films. In order to make this movie, producer Boris Moros bought the rights to the 1931 French film Les Deux Légionnaires, which had a similar plot. The Flying Deuces was Moros' first independent production, and it was shot continually over a span of 4 weeks. Only 1 day was reportedly needed for retakes. The French original starred Fernandel and Noel. Director A. Edward Sutherland and Stan Laurel did not get along during filming, with Sutherland having reportedly commented that he would rather eat a tarantula than work with Laurel again. On the set of this film, Oliver Hardy met his future wife, script supervisor Virginia Lucille Jones. The plane that does all the fancy flying at the end of this movie is a 1928 Travelair 6000, better known to some as a Curtiss Wright 6B. Curtiss Wright acquired the Travelair Company in 1931. It is an American plane, despite being painted in this movie with French rondelles on the wings. The Flying Deuces was filmed in Chatsworth and Van Nuys, California. It was released on November 3, 1939, and distributed by RKO Radio Pictures. Reviews are very favorable at the Internet Movie Database, including the best of Ollie and Stan, filled with tons of sight gags, some fine moments, great stuff, the only Laurel and Hardy movie I would unequivocally recommend. Until next time, this is Paul Gannis. To quote Oliver from the film, "Another glass of milk and 2 fresh straws, please. The popcorn's hot. Enjoy the film."
This is a far, far better thing I do now than I have ever done before.
Well, standing so...